What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is just how different our British and American counties. Now, I believe you guys call these states. Again, you've got your different counties in the UK, and there's a lot of differences between the UK and US anyway, so I'm not sure what route it's going to go down, whether it's just a basically Britain UK comparison, or if it's just looking at how a county is different and how it's run differently. We're gonna check it out. I'm not sure. It's Lost in the Pond. Lawrence, absolute legend. If you've never checked his channel out, what are you doing? Are you living under a rock or something? He's got 250,000 subscribers. Awesome channel, and he does a lot of content like this. If you enjoy this video, go and check him out, and also hit the subscribe button on this video. And it's been a while since I've asked you legends to hit that notification bell. So next to the subscribe button, there's a little notification bell. Click it, and make sure you click all instead of personalized, and every single video I upload will pop up on your tablet, phone, computer, whatever device you guys use. It will pop up and you can watch every video. If you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. I'd appreciate if you hit that subscribe button anyway, in case you want to watch anything in the future. And let's see just how different the British and American counties actually are.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to counties. Having lived, worked and consumed bad whiskey in both countries, I also bear the legendary distinction of having lived in 7 different counties, 3 in Britain and 4 in the US.
Oh, wow.
So you could say that I'm more primed than most to reveal the gripping truth about these riveting, if procedural, regions. And the central truth is that British and American counties are very, very different.
Not a surprise.
In Gloucester County, New Jersey would hardly recognise Gloucestershire, England, but...
Okay, so it's not states. You got your New Jersey state, and then you got your county in there. To be fair, that kind of makes sense because you hear like on TV programs, your county districts and stuff like that. That makes sense to me.
Mostly because it was invaded by sheep. And so, without further ado, here are 5 ways that British and American counties are very different.
Let's see what we got. What's a
Britain,
county?
Defining a county is complicated. In general, the counties are subnational divisions used for demarcating between administrative, geographical and political regions. In my home country of England, there are 48 ceremonial counties, that is, counties to which Lord Lieutenant, as in personal representatives of the Queen, are appointed. And yes, I know the whole of British life sounds made up. But then
I didn't even know that. You know what? Thing is, I'm learning stuff about British stuff in this video, 100%.
You also have the 39 historic counties, counties that were established by the time of the 11th century Norman conquest. These largely overlap with the ceremonial counties, and it's all highly confusing, and just reading about it makes me want to take up drinking again. In short, the counties of England are used for a variety of purposes. In non-metropolitan counties, local services are provided by county councils.
Yeah, that makes sense.
District councils. So for example, it's the county council who comes and takes away your rubbish every, 4 years. In metropolitan areas such as Greater Manchester, services are provided by district councils. And what does that mean? I don't know. In the United States, a county is an administrative or political subdivision normally consisting of some level of governance. The various powers afforded to counties do vary by state, and to list them all would take until the 41st century. Basically, depending on where you live, counties might provide services such as courts, public utilities, libraries, hospitals, public health, parks, roads, and law enforcement. And
yeah, I knew that bit. I didn't realize. I suppose assume it's the same in whatever system you guys had. I'm finding out the system, but that's obviously the comparison with the UK. Pretty much the same in terms of in that county, you've got your local services, what push all that. But again, I am learning stuff about the UK here. Like I never really looked into the county stuff like that. You know where you live, you know what county you're in, and stuff like that. But other than that, you heard of other counties, you know other counties. I've never thought, how many counties is there in the UK? Okay, what it defined, you know what I mean? I've never thought about that, so it's awesome that I'm learning as well. So we're both on a little path here to learn about the UK and the US.
On that last point, there's one commonality among US counties that surprisingly wasn't just a made-up movie trope or a figment of my imagination, and it's this. Most of them have actual sheriffs.
Oh, wow.
In fact, one of the first things I noticed after starting my new life in the US was the abundance of yard signs bearing words like, "Vote J.W. Pepper for County Sheriff." J.W. Pepper, he gets things done. Now this might sound odd coming from a person whose own country once appointed Professor Snape as the Sheriff of Nottingham. But these days, the role of sheriff is a largely ceremonial affair in Britain. It's such a rarely discussed aspect of British life that it likely comes as a surprise to most Brits that the country even has sheriffs.
I'm not gonna lie, I always put a sheriff as a US thing. Like what you see on, again, from a lot of my US knowledge is from movies, US TV, what we have in the UK. We haven't really gone into shelves on any of these reactions. So if shelf comes up, I'm like, oh, that's something in the US, isn't it? A local area. You got the sheriff ahead. Where I know it's probably different nowadays, but on films back in the day, when you're talking like the 1900s, late 1900s, stuff like that, you have a one sheriff who everyone in that local area kind of knew, and you'd go up to them and discuss like problems personally with him. I believe I'm right in saying that, or at least that's what it is on the movies. Let me know in the comments. I don't think it's like that nowadays, more modern times and stuff like that.
All that aside, though, the United States, made up of 50 states, has considerably more counties than Britain.
Oh, wow.
Actually, so do some states, which is where we get
Oh,
into
wow,
shape
as if.
and size.
Always bigger, baby.
On a map, the first thing you notice about British counties is that they all look completely different and jarringly similar at the same time.
Yep.
And if you stare at them long enough, you start to see stuff. Like, for instance, Norfolk looks like a not fully rendered fish, where Sussex resembles a chilled out Highland cow, and Northamptonshire looks like a bad interpretation of what a child thinks a sheep is.
Oh, wow. I mean, I was waiting for, my county to get a shout out. Obviously, currently, as we stand, I'm not in England, I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK, but I'm in Jersey, which is down here somewhere, which is not shown on my map. That's absolutely fair enough. It's not part of a county video. But my original county, which I lived 16, 17 years of my life, South Yorkshire, just there. We didn't get a shout out, but oh well, we didn't need one. But South Yorkshire was the one I lived in, if anyone was interested in that.
On the other hand, when I moved to Indiana all those years ago, I was struck by how rectangular everything was.
Oh,
Indeed,
wow.
This included the state itself if it was painted by Salvador Dali. And the same is true of many of its counties. While Britain doesn't believe in straight borders, Indiana can't get enough of them. And it's not just the Hoosier state. As outlined in a previous video, the United States is absolutely obsessed with rectangles, from those in its flag to those in its land. And let's all take a moment to appreciate the sheer majesty of Kansas, which looks almost exactly like a patchwork duvet. Now, admittedly,
or
not
chessboard.
all states fit this bill. While the Texas Panhandle is primed to hold the world's largest game of tic-tac-toe, irregular shapes do make up much of the US county map. However, unlike in Britain, the vast majority of these, including a county in the state of Missouri that's shaped kind of like the state of Missouri, often have at least one straight boundary. Either way, British and American counties come in all shapes, not to mention these.
Sizes, shapes and sizes, baby.
Drill. I'm Lawrence and I definitely don't have a size complex. That said, I can hardly compare British and American counties without discussing land area. The counties of Britain have evolved over the years, but these days the largest is often believed to be the behemoth that is North Yorkshire.
Oh, we were so close. We got the north, we just needed the south. North Yorkshire is absolutely huge, though it is, as you saw on that map.
That isn't technically true, because even though it measures in at 3,341 square miles and is certainly the largest county in England, there's an even larger subdivision in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
The Highland Council area, home to almost 250,000 people, is about 10,000 square miles in area.
Holy!
Now, the main reason this only made it in on a technicality is that Scotland no longer has counties, but many of its council areas continue to operate via the names and functions of when it did.
Okay, I got you.
Despite boasting more than 3,000 counties of its own, the contiguous...
You know what I'm saying? He likes rolling his tongue on like 3. I can't do it. I'm not, you know what? I'm going to practice off camera, and if you guys want me to attempt in another video, I will. I'm not going to do it again.
United States, whose states tend toward having tight clusters of smaller counties, can't compete with Britain size-wise. The only exception to this is San Bernardino County in California, which is twice
bigger,
the size of the Highland Council area and also 4 times bigger than Northern Ireland.
Oh,
however,
wow.
Once you leave the lower 48, the US starts to produce counties that put even bigger nations to shame. In fact, in Alaska, there are 2 that not only outsize the UK's biggest counties, but the UK itself.
Wow.
The smallest of these is the North Slope Borough, which is a tiny fraction larger than the Great Lakes, which are a tiny fraction larger than the UK. And then there's the Yukon York Census Area. How do you say that?
You know, I've got to give this a go. Yukon Census Area. I think I've nailed that. I'm proud of myself
The
for that.
Yukon Kayakuk census area, which is considerably larger than the UK, and it even makes a mockery of this fact by cheekily featuring the letters UK in its name
Yes.
3 times.
Wow.
It's worth noting, however, that the area is the least densely populated county equivalent in the US, housing just 5,000 people.
That's Alaska for
county
you.
equivalent because, like Scotland, Alaska doesn't refer to its administrative regions as counties, but as something else entirely, which brings us on to this.
Boroughs,
For the most part,
I've heard
it's
that.
true that both countries refer to first-order subdivisions as counties, but as with all matters of language, there are exceptions.
Yep.
Famously, most English counties are known colloquially as shires, a tradition maintained
Yorkshire.
for hundreds of years by
Yep.
hobbits, but also textbooks.
And yeah, sorry, I said Yorkshire. I know talk about shires, but I think there is a link there. I may be completely wrong with that, but I think there's a link there. But yeah, I know about the shires history. And with Borough, probably the reason why I recognise it is obviously you got like Middlesbrough and stuff like that, and Hillsborough. Places like that always have the borough in it.
A shire county is one that is not metropolitan and usually ends predictably in the suffix shire. And Americans, I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't it be really quaint if the United States had shire counties? It did. In 1634, King Charles I of England ordered a restructuring of local governance in the Virginia colony, leading to the development of 8 shires. They were English, they were here to stay, and they were soon rebranded as counties, but most of these do still exist. Meanwhile, as I alluded to earlier, Scotland, which has its own historic shires, has ceased referring to its first-order subdivisions as counties, but rather council areas. Back across the pond, 48 of the 50 states use the term county, which means there are 2 exceptions. Firstly, Alaska is organised into boroughs and census areas. Now, I say organised, but a big chunk of the state is actually wrapped up in something called, and I'm not making this up, the unorganised borough. This region is made up of subsections not contained within the state's 19 organised boroughs and is not itself a borough. And yes, I'm just as lost as you.
Yeah, very.
Meanwhile, influenced by its colonial French and Spanish past, Louisiana is made up of 64 unassuming county equivalents known as parishes.
Parishes, that's what Jersey has. Because again, I don't know if you guys know, I'm rambling a little bit here, but Jersey is closer to France than it is the UK. Even though we're part of the UK, it's closer to England. Sorry, it's closer to France than it is England. So all our road names are French. Potentially in the past, it was a French-speaking place. So we have parishes, 12 parishes on the island, stuff like that. There you go, Louisiana. We're the same, basically. You know, you basically live in Jersey, and I basically live in Louisiana. Same thing, innit?
Though, funnily enough, one of these is actually named Assumption.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of county names, let's finish with this.
County names,
As
okay.
we've already established, the majority of British counties carry the shire suffix.
Yep.
Many of those counties were established at different times during the last 1,000 years or so, and are usually named for their county town.
Even though Yorkshire, you don't actually say Yorkshire, which I know a lot of you guys, the first things you do say when you see that is Yorkshire, not Yorkshire. Just pointing that out there.
However, let's not forget that there are multiple big players that have never carried the shire suffix because they were named long before the whole craze took off. These include the likes of Essex and Sussex, both formerly Anglo-Saxon kingdoms from the 6th century. And then you also have the likes of Devon, Dorset and Somerset that previously carried the shire suffix but no longer do.
Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, over in the United States, it can sometimes feel like I'm living in an alternate universe. While no shires remain, 4 counties, Berkshire, Massachusetts, Cheshire, New Hampshire, Hampshire, West Virginia and Hampshire, Massachusetts, were all named after shire counties in England.
I rate it.
However, unlike their namesakes, each is succeeded by the word county. Nonetheless, this list should tell you 2 things. Number 1, the East Coast has a lot of British-inspired county names.
Yep.
And number 2, in America, there appears to be no rule stating that the same county name can't be used again in another state. Both observations can be adequately summed up by the existence of Essex County. All 5 of them.
Oh, wow.
And if you think that's a lot, let me know if you live in Lincoln County, because the United States has 24 of those.
What?
And
That's confusing.
not all of these were named after Honest Abe. A handful drew inspiration from the seemingly unrelated general Benjamin Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
While Lincoln County, Maine was named for the English city. What's more, Lincoln County is only the 5th most common county name in the United States. Unsurprisingly, the number 1 spot belongs to another president, a certain George Washington.
Okay, I could have guessed Washington one. I could have guessed that one.
In all, if you live in the United States, there's a 62% chance that you live in a state with a Washington county.
Wow.
And that's because there are 31 Washington counties.
That's
in
it.
general, the US specializes in counties that were named after prominent people, particularly presidents and founding fathers, but also cities, states, native tribes, and even crops and resources. And on a personal note, I'll leave you now with the crucial knowledge that the US boasts 11 Lawrence counties, 9 Brown counties, and 4 states that have both. I've lived in 2 of those states. I'm Lawrence.
Well, fair play. Lawrence's name is all over the place. He's got his own counties. Check out Lossum Upon's channel, like he's about to say, to check his social medias out, and then you can find his Twitter and stuff like that over there. Hit the subscribe button on this video and the like button as well. I feel like everyone watching this video, unless you know you've seen it already, unless you have a very good understanding of the county system and a lot of the UK and US differences, has all learned something new. I've learned something new about the UK and the US, and hopefully you guys have as well. I appreciate you guys checking out the video. I'll see you tomorrow for another one, and have a fantastic day. Peace.